Okay, we're on. So I want to start this by referencing a year ago, you and I talked, and you were telling me about the intention you had with shifting your business model. And I don't know how far along you are on that. I know you said that you're still kind of working on adjusting your offer, but that was really eye opening for me because you were talking about after going to an event with our good friend Dan Bolton that you had realized the agency life was not something you want to continue to invest heavily and energetically. And
Mhm.
that was a big eye opener for me because I'm sure you've heard the same things. A lot of people say, oh, unless you're at 100K a month with an agency, you shouldn't be a coach. Like you're cutting corners, you're taking shortcuts. And something that I've realized recently is I'm not doing coaching. I'm not building a coaching offer because I think it's some hack or like some game to riches. And like now all of a sudden people are just going to pay you and I don't have to care about my clients. Like I actually love coaching people more than I love doing
Mhm.
agency work. Didn't do as much outreach as I should have for my agency because I fucking didn't want to do my agency. Like it's just honestly as simple as that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on, reflecting on that and kind of your thought process as to why you changed your business model now, almost a year later.
Mhm. Yeah, I'll take you back to like a question. When I thought my career, I started my career actually at Costco. I was the youngest employee to work ever at Costco, and this is important. I just want to share this. I was the youngest employee ever to be hired in Costco history across Canada.
How old are you?
I was 16. I wasn't
Oh, okay.
legally allowed in the store because they sold cigarettes. So clearly, they wanted me so bad that they hired me, although knowing that they could have legal trouble, right?
Hmm.
And I spent a good 6 to 8 years at Costco. I was obviously in high school, and then went to university, and they're great. And I still love Costco. I think it's a great place to work. But I thought I was going to give my career to Costco. And the first kind of wake up call that made me go into entrepreneurship was I spent a whole year in a training program for a management role. I was going to be the youngest manager across Canada. I spent a whole year, they go through a training program, and you're basically the promise of this program, this offer that I'm sure we'll talk about, is that you will be a manager by the end of this program. Well, coming the year of this program, within 2 weeks, my manager switched warehouses, and this happens often. It happens
Hmm.
all of a sudden, you know, for someone, it's just like this switching. So someone replaced my manager, who is my go-to person for the year. And what happened when I was supposed to get that manager role, someone else got it. And it was because they looked at my age and they say, "You're too young." And that was the first taste of I'm not in control of my future, right? If I stay at a 9 to 5 job.
Hmm.
So the reason I share this story is because we all started business for a reason. A lot of times it came from a pain, a passion, or just like you have the expertise. For me, it was a pain and a passion. I love creating content. I love creating videos. I was always following people on Instagram, photographers, videographers. I was very creative as a kid. I want to be an actor. In Costco, my main role was selling memberships and marketing, and I created programs to get more people to sign up for memberships. So, from a very young age, I loved business. I love marketing, love creative work. So, I started my business because I wanted the freedom,
Hmm.
right, to do the thing I love and to create like stories and to tell stories, right? But then you fall into this trap, as you said beautifully, of like you get into the weeds of performance of agency
Hmm.
work. In agency work, I still think is one of the best first businesses to ever start because
100%.
it got me so much experience in so little time. I literally got to work with multiple, like I think I calculated I worked with over 50 multimillionaires in my
Wow.
career, and I got an MBA in business from working with these guys and got
Hmm.
paid like I got paid multiple six figures a year to
Hmm.
still make content and do things. But again, I fell into this trap of like I am working for someone else
Hmm.
and being their punching bag and not
Hmm.
actually doing the thing I wanted to do. And so I had to ask myself another question, right? Why did I start this business? For freedom, for expression, and to help people because I believe we're all put on this earth to do that.
Hmm.
right? So very quickly, and the only reason really that really made me completely shift from agency because I was seeking for permission. I didn't think, as you said before, I needed permission to start coaching. I've always
Hmm.
knew deep down I wanted to coach people. I wanted to help people. And coaching has a bad term. I just want to help people, right? I just have
Hmm.
a unique skill set to help them, right? That word is coaching, but like you could replace that with helping. The
Yeah.
point is that it took my wife telling me she was pregnant and that she was going to have a child for me to actually start the journey of giving myself permission to do what I finally wanted to do.
Hmm.
So I can get into that was a quick summary, but if you want, I can get into like the specifics or details of it. But that's kind of like how I
Hmm.
got to was really the decision was my wife telling me she got pregnant, and that projected propelled me to creating a plan to getting out of the agency.
Hmm. No, that's funny, man. Because I was talking to somebody the other day about this, about my decision to stop doing my agency. The reason I was doing my agency in the first place is because I just got fired from an agency. I didn't want to move back to Winnipeg, and I had an apartment in Toronto, and I was like, "Well, I have a couple options. I can downsize, or I can just keep it moving, and I can keep my standards." And so I just busted my ass to stay in Toronto. I, I came to this realization that the reason why I stopped working as hard for my agency, the reason why I stopped caring about my agency as much, is because there was so much evidence that showed me I'm not going back to Winnipeg ever, even if I went through extreme financial hardship. And there were moments like I accumulated $50,000 worth of debt. I had 6K to my name. Like that was not my favorite point in time, right? It was a very valuable mirror and learning point. But even at that point, I'm like, if this continues to go south and I'm not sure how I'm going to handle it, I'm going to Asia. I'm not going to Winnipeg. And like shortly after, like less than a year after I made, yeah, like 6 or 7 months after I kind of realized that decision that I would make, I just shut down my agency because I could tell my heart just wasn't in it. And I think it's funny. I talk to a lot of people who tell me, yeah, I had a very entrepreneurial background growing up. I was always into business. I wasn't. I always thought that was for other people who were smarter than me. I always wanted to do like stand up comedy or be a professional basketball player. And then when I came to the decision to close my agency, that's when I really explored it for the first time. So you're 100% right in terms of why are you doing this? Everything else good stems from that ability to stop and take a look at what's going on and ask, is this even worth doing in the first place? You did that with Costco. You built this agency that taught you so much about business and allowed you to grow. You did that with the agency, and now something else is starting to grow as well.
Hmm. Love that.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I always ask people who are in marketing is, where do you see marketing is going, especially content, and what are some of the current industry pieces of advice that you are not a fan of?
Mm, that's a good question. So where I see the marketing going and things I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starting off with the big questions. I like this.
Thank you. Thank you. This just will devolve into AI slander. No, I'm kidding. But yes or no?
So where I see I mean, we hear it all before. Like, I'm a big fan of people like Gary Vee. I'm a big fan of
Hmm.
people like Dan Martell, obviously
Hmm.
like Alex Mosey, and hear this all the time. But it's so true is that like we are no longer in social media. We are in interest media.
Hmm.
And it's no secret. I mean, our algorithms, literally what I see in my feed is exactly what I want. I get
Hmm.
to see comedy, dancing, because actually, fun fact, I used to be a hip hop dancer,
Oh, cool.
and I see business. Those are the
Nice.
three main things, and some dad content. That's some new things, some fun dad
Nice.
stuff, dad hacks, dads in shape, that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
I rarely see my friends in my feed,
Hmm.
very rare. And I follow like 1,500 people. I don't think I see any of their content.
Yeah.
And so the where this is going is like the follower count really doesn't matter. And I can share some stories that really prove this point. In the first 45 days of 2026, I made $20,000
Hmm.
and I have under 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I
Not
have less
bad.
than 2,000 on, or I think 2,500 or whatever on Instagram. Don't even know. And most of that, I'd say 50% of that is family friends.
Hmm.
So just take that in for a second here. $20,000 I used to make annually was $50,000, and I'm making nearly half of that in the first 45 days of 2026. Our mutual friend, who was a client of mine, Dan Bolton, with less than 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, made over $144,000 a month on average last
Mm-hmm.
year. And he did it through content. He didn't have a massive following, he didn't go viral. And
Mm-hmm.
there's loads of examples of this. If you look up Alex Mosey, he is a client that I think has 1,000 followers on Instagram, and she makes like multiple millions of dollars from that 1,000-person audience.
Damn.
So the trajectory is that every single one of us have an opportunity to get business through the power of this. So I can compete with Alex Mosey. I can compete with Gary Vee.
Mm-hmm.
On the same playing field. We are all on the same playing field. So what it's actually going into is we are now having to become, if you're a coach, you have to become a creator coach. If you're
Mm-hmm.
a SaaS founder, you have to become a creator SaaS founder. We are now the two circles where you are a creator and you are a founder are now merging
Mm-hmm.
because the importance of content.
Mm-hmm.
Content is the lifeblood of business in 2026. It is the thing. Gary Vee said this. I wish I said this, that the new funnel in 2026 is a personal brand.
Mm.
The new funnel to make multiple millions of dollars is a personal brand. The only way to build a personal brand is through content. You cannot do it
Mm-hmm.
through ads. You cannot do it through DMs. You do it through content. Content equals personal brand.
You don't buy
So
every
people,
single cold DM you get?
shh, don't
Yeah.
reveal all the secrets yet. So that's where the market is going, and we're already seeing it, right? And what's cool about, we're joking about bringing up AI, and like, so some things that I'm against is I'm on the fence about AI. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's such a cool thing. I'm just like, I've been at ChatGPT Pro, I think. Now I'm just having Claude, and I'm like, oh, dude, Claude is way better than
Claude is
ChatGPT.
so much
And
better
like,
than ChatGPT.
so much better than ChatGPT. Like, I don't know why it took me forever, but like,
Yeah.
there's so many cool things. But the mistake that a lot of us, and including my clients, including myself, by the way, when we
Mm-hmm.
started, was I was using AI as my voice.
Mm.
Give me 10 ideas for my Instagram reel. Write me a script that helps me sell my program. I let the internet, which is a bunch of garbage of
Yeah.
average things,
95% garbage.
95. So literally AI is pulling from garbage on the internet because
Yeah.
95% of the internet is garbage and giving you garbage. So
Mm-hmm.
I made the mistake of replacing my voice with AI. And so
Mm-hmm.
the there's always a pro, there's always a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing about AI is making our lives 10 times easier. Like I don't need a graphic designer. Like soon I won't need an editor. It literally will do it all for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? It is like having an army. So solopreneurs don't have to like struggle as a solopreneur. We can
Mm-hmm.
literally have the infrastructure of 1,000 employees through AI.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a huge opportunity. But what people are mistaking is they're replacing their voice with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it's their voice that is what builds their personal brand. It's the
Yeah.
voice that makes them the obvious choice. The
Mm-hmm.
reason I was able to make $20,000 in the first 45 days wasn't because of some viral hack or some secret algorithm trick I know. It was like specifically because I learned my voice. I learned how to articulate what it is that I do really well, and it piqued interest to the right person. And so that is the future of marketing, is
Mm-hmm.
communication, is content creation. And
Mm-hmm.
so like I'm not against AI, I'm not anti AI, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not 100% for AI. And I wish I could plant my flag on one side, but I find it like everything, there's a good and bad, there's two sides of
Yeah,
the coin.
totally.
And so you have to not let it replace your voice, but use it. You'd be dumb not to use it, but
Mm-hmm.
don't use it to be your voice, which I see it on LinkedIn and Instagram. I mean, I made a post the other day saying like it's never been easier to go viral because I could put a dog in a tutu dancing to a Justin Bieber song and get 1 million views.
Mm-hmm.
But what would that mean for my business?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree with you. I think that I would still, and I don't know, I don't think this was your point, but with the graphic design and video editing thing, I'd still rather find somebody who knows it because I don't fucking know what I'm looking for. I'm going to ask AI for something. I have no idea if it's good or not. I think that's something that I always tell people about AI is that if you don't know what good is, giving AI the responsibility is not going to help you. It'll just make you more lost. I've been trying to work on my physical health recently, and I asked,
I just gotta fix my camera. Sorry, I just bumped it and something went wrong. I'm sorry to
yeah, go
interrupt
for it, go
you.
for it, go for it, go
Give
for
me
it.
1 sec. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
But I kick and move my hands like I'm Italian, and I just kicked my camera, and then it went like totally weird. Sorry
Yeah,
about that, my friend.
you absorbed
Yeah.
it through osmosis. No, it's all good. Like I was asking ChatGPT questions about running and stuff because I want to start running more, and it was giving me all this advice, and I thought, wow, this is so amazing. And then I thought for a second, I have no idea if any of this is accurate or relevant to what I'm doing. I'm giving it information, but I don't know what my blind spots are in this area. I have no fucking clue what real barometers I should be using to measure my success or if this is even relevant to what I'm doing. So, as much as I thought, oh, wow, personal trainers are going to go extinct, 10 seconds later, I'm like, no, I'd much rather ask a person who knows what they're talking about.
But you know why? Is
Mm,
because this is like a bold statement, but like
let's hear it.
info is dead. Like
Yeah,
pure info is totally dead.
totally.
What is though rising and totally alive is insight.
Hmm.
So what you're looking for, what you're asking ChatGPT is like, a professional runner can give you insight because they have experience
Hmm.
and they can watch you and they can they know the nuances that again
Yes.
AI is pulling from the internet full of contradictions and people's
Hmm.
opinions. And so it's like, yes, it's a great source of like I don't Google things. I AI everything. You know what I mean? If I
Hmm.
want
Yeah.
info, if I want an answer, it's great. You know what I mean? I just discovered I can count freaking my calories with AI. And I know it's not 100% accurate, but it was way better than not doing it before,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
exactly. And
But
even so,
I,
Googling stuff today has Gemini. So even if you are Googling,
yeah.
anyway, sorry, keep going. Keep
But I think that the trajectory is insight is that
going.
people are not coming to me because I have some like revolutionary, innovative thing. It's like, no, I learned this from other people. Like
Hmm.
I learned marketing from other people. I learned content creation from others. But I have now insight doing it for 7 years. And I can now because now I have repetition, innovate and help people with like insight. People are paying for that is like my specific situation, not just random info. I give out
Hmm.
all info on YouTube, all info on Instagram because I'm not selling info. I'm selling implementation and insight. Is that
Yeah.
working with me, you're going to get the tailored, which is very important, advice, which is
Hmm.
aka insight into your
Hmm.
specific. So I love that you brought that up because it's like so true.
Yeah, totally. I also think Dan said this. He said that information is not the separator anymore; it's activation and understanding how to get people to move. I really love that because insight is what leads to activation ultimately, or it's a key factor in that equation, right? However you want to break that down. But I do think it's funny. A lot of people are online talking about the future is content, the future is personal branding, the future is your unique voice. Hasn't that been the advice for like 10 years? If we're being honest, I can't remember in my marketing career, and to be completely fair, when I started, I always joke that I was an overglorified clipboard holder because nobody taught me what the hell I should have been looking for. If you ask me what's the offer, I don't even know what the fuck that is. If you ask me why are you doing what you're doing, I don't know. People just pay us and we post stuff on their social media. I have really no idea how the fuck this works. What's the
Mhm.
point of doing all this? Because it's good. I couldn't explain anything to you. But the advice I was hearing, even with my limited awareness, is that content is the future. Personal branding is the future. It's always been advice that's been told. So I think it's funny that the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that's life, right? That's fitness. That's business. That's relationships. The more you date your wife, you guys have been together for almost a decade. I think I saw on your Instagram, 8 years, right? Am I
Yeah,
right?
8 years. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Look at that memory. I'm sure every year you learned something new about her. Every time you
Mm.
guys went out, you learned something new about her. You saw a different dimension of hers. You saw a different angle of who she is as a person. You see who she is as a mom. You see how she is as a new mom. You see how she is as your wife, as your girlfriend, as your fiance. All these different aspects. It's the same woman. You fall deeper in love with her every time. But there's some things you can't really escape, which is why I'm never really worried about AI because, I just don't see the demand being there, also, if I'm being completely honest. You've heard the advice on doing market research. Go on social media, see what people are saying. Go on Reddit, see what people are saying. Have you done that about AI ever? I've done it a couple times.
I'm just like I choose like I'm ADHD. If I go down that rabbit hole, I will go down that rabbit hole.
I've been down rabbit holes
And
people shouldn't go
it,
down, so I get it.
so it's like I like I said, I just like really I thought like ChatGPT and Claude were the same thing. Like I know they're
Mhm,
different, but I'm like, no, everything like stems from the same. So I am totally okay being a noob at AI
mhm,
and having like it's all percentages, right?
mhm,
80% of my effort, I have my eye on the ball of what I really want. And
mhm.
AI is a part of it. I'm not taking my eye off of it, but I'm not changing my whole business just because it is the
Yeah,
thing. Right.
yeah.
And that's a mistake I've made before. I've like the shiny object syndrome is true, but the same thing is true is that everything works. Right. So like
Mhm,
you, I could literally cold call people and it'd still work. It would suck, but it'd
mhm,
still work. Like
mhm,
there are multimillionaire businesses like that run off huge sales teams. It's still a like everything can work. So you can go down the
mhm,
rabbit hole, do AI, you can do no AI, and it both can work, right? There's no
mhm.
better. So I was always chasing best and better, and I
Yeah.
thought that I could outwork, everyone. When the
Mhm.
reality is burnout is real. And I could, and we just saw this with Alex Mosley's recent interview with Tony Robbins.
Yeah, I loved it.
He literally, if you haven't watched it, the summary is he now doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, I literally made $100 million in 3 days. What now?
Mhm,
So he has no more purpose in life. And so Tony Robbins was just like for 2 hours, just like telling him to like giving him a million ideas on what bigger things there are
mhm,
to money. Right.
mhm.
And obviously where we are, money is everything because it's like money gives us the freedom. But the reality is that like I would not die for money.
It's a
Right.
very useful
And I'm not
tool.
gonna die. It's a very useful tool. It's the thing that is like literally moves mountains in this day and age. But
Mhm,
my point of this rant is that like choose what you want to go
mhm,
down, right? If you want to go down AI and you want to help people with AI, freaking go down it. But
mhm,
I'm taking the approach of like, listen, 20% of my effort, I'm gonna keep tabs on it because it's gonna
mhm,
change my industry. I'd be dumb not to, but I can't get
mhm.
lost in it. At least
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
For sure. So the reason why I ask is because I personally have gone down the rabbit hole of like, let's see how far this shit goes. Now, I don't recommend people doing that with every topic in life. I have with enough where I'm like, I need to learn when to stop. But I bring it up because I don't think there's actual demand for AI the way that some people say there is. I
Hmm.
I just don't. The average person isn't just ambivalent or apathetic about AI. They hate it with a burning passion. Like they would physically harm somebody over it if they had to. And so when I see that, I'm not saying that AI is irrelevant or useless or a nothing burger or absolute zero in terms of its impact. However, I just don't see it being what people are saying it's going to be, who are tech bros, who are in the AI space. Like OpenAI still hasn't made a profit. I think they just signed a government deal with the United States, but they have not profited. The amount of money they've raised from their latest VC campaign was, I think, a fifth of what they thought it was going to be. So it's not to say that, again, it's not nothing, it's not useless, but just I go down these rabbit holes to understand the context of like, okay, what's really going on? How do I discern between hype and what's really important for me to know? And what I've seen is that
I think
it's
the
going to be like,
topic is high. The
of course,
idea, the topic, but like you said, I bet you only 1% are going even like most of us are surface level. Like only
hmm
1% is going even a layer deeper, and there's probably 50, right,
yeah,
layers to this
oh,
game,
easily,
right?
easily,
And probably 98% of the market has even scratched the surface layer of what
hmm
AI really is.
yeah,
So to your point, I think it's a hot topic.
hmm
Every YouTube video with AI, like that I coach people with YouTube and content creation, and it's like just adding AI into the
hmm
topic automatically will get you more traction just
yeah,
because of how in demand it is. It's still so high, right?
hmm
Everything is now AI. But I think you're right in the sense of like
hmm
how dangerous is it right now? I do think it will just totally disrupt the market and it has
in some ways,
already.
yeah, for sure.
Um well, because there are people losing their jobs, right?
Yeah,
And
of
it is
course.
something I would think about. Like if I was an employee right now, I would think about how do I like but I'm not going to be scared, but I would think about how do I build the skill so I'm not
Yeah.
replaced. because
Well,
that's the dangerous thing, right?
it depends on the context, right? So, for example, IBM just hired back a bunch of in people workers to actually use AI and to train them properly. There are a bunch of other, I think it was Klarna or DoorDash or Uber Eats. They laid off a bunch of people for AI and then had to hire them all back. So the contexts are different, right? Not to get too lost in the AI
Mhm.
rabbit hole, but I just
Yeah.
like with everything, right? With the personal branding, like I was talking, I've never heard people say personal branding is dead or content is dead in any year. And if I did, it kind of came up like in 2025 when the algorithm changed and then people stopped talking like that because it was stupid advice. So with the AI thing, I just say that to tell people
Mhm.
and to kind of give them a bigger picture of what I've seen. It's both overrated and underrated at the same time. Know it,
Yeah.
learn it, understand how it's going to change you. Don't just get a Claude bot for also actually I will take hard advice. Don't use Claude bot. That's insane to just give AI open fire on every single thing you have in your life, your phone, your emails. It's insane. I don't know why anybody would do that. Some AI bro is going to tell me I'm cooked now because I like life, but it's fine. But it's overrated and it's underrated. Understand the context in which it helps you, understand the context in which it can help your team, understand the context in which it can help your clients, and use it as a tool. Same thing with money. I believe money is so important. I love money. I love receiving money. I love investing money. However, it's not my god. And there part of what I love living here in Thailand is there are a lot of people here who have less money than me and they're so fucking happy and they're so excited to do what they get to do every single day, and it gives you valuable perspective, right? If that's the case, why can't the people who are living in the West, who are entrepreneurial, who are digital nomads, find the
Mhm.
same meaning? There's nothing separating them. It's not like they're doing something fucking crazy or behind closed doors or illegal that we have no access to. And so what is going to really make you happy? And I think that's like I said, there's universal principles, but there's also the ways that it shows up for you. The way I am with my wife is probably very different from somebody else who's in a relationship. The way I am in my business is probably very different from other people who are in business, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Couldn't say it better myself.
Yeah, one of my mentors told me. Do you know who Alexander Solzhenitsyn is? No, he's a writer. He lived in the Soviet Union during the Great Wars. One of the things that is kind of his legend is he wrote a letter to a friend criticizing the Soviet Union, and it was intercepted by the government, and they saw what he was saying, and so they threw him in the gulag. And while he was in the gulag, even though it's the most harsh conditions human beings can be in, even though they could kill him if they really wanted to, the guards were scared of him. And so when I hear stories like that, what makes up somebody who literally has one of the biggest institutions at the time in the world prioritize this guy as a national threat to where the guards are scared of him? And to me, that comes from his energetic state, what he's cultivated internally. And so that's something I always hammer with the people I talk to, which is like, if you can go here and if you can really create a deep relationship with that, that's what moves mountains. I think that's more powerful than money. I think that's more powerful than anything you can do in your business. Because if you can cultivate that real relationship, it puts you on a completely different playing field. It puts you in a completely different stratosphere than the people who are just focusing on hooks and strategy. Not to say those things are bad or they're not worth worrying
Mhm.
about, but you're just playing a completely different game. And I think that's like you gave the examples of the small accounts making lots of money. I think there are so many different stories and accounts of people across time, across multiple religions, belief systems, countries, historic periods where that's true. And so that's why I always encourage people to like go inward first. That will fundamentally shift your external world and that will fundamentally shift your marketing strategy.
Yeah, I think you're right. And like to put a practical example is like the higher up wellness. You know
Hmm.
who I'm talking about, higher up
Michael
wellness
Smolk, yeah.
guy. His podcast and his content. When you look at it objectively, from let's call it let's talk about the production quality. It's shit. He's using a shitty webcam, no microphone. It's shit.
Hmm.
But he's getting millions of views. Why? Because he's speaking, to your point, from here. He's speaking with
Hmm.
conviction, heart. It's his personality. And I talk about this a lot. Like we want to stand out. Marketing in a nutshell is standing out. How do
Hmm.
you stand out and sell out? right? Those are the two things we're trying to do. Stand out, so we're different, show people why we're different, how we're different, what makes us different, and then sell out. Obviously, we need sales, we need money to fuel the business, fuel the beast. He stands out because of who he is, his conviction, not his quality in the videos that we all, obsess over. And I obsess over. It's why I have all this,
Hmm.
right? But I love it. He stands out because he knows his why, he knows his conviction. He says it with conviction. He doesn't need 2 takes, 5 takes, 8 takes. He does it 1 take. It's imperfect, but it's in a sense, it's also perfect because it's so real.
Hmm.
And so, I love what you're saying because it's like people underestimate how being yourself, and it's so cliche, but
Hmm.
it's so true, is like, why do people like Dan Bolton, the guy we keep talking about, makes millions of dollars talking about his chickens? A
Hmm.
video we created for him with my agency was and it was so funny. Like when I got the text, like, "Hey, I'm sending you a funny video, but like make this a priority." We edited a video of him just talking about chicken, not talking about business, naming his chickens he had because he had chickens.
Hmm.
And that one video, like, I think is still one of his top performing videos in client acquisition
That's funny.
because people associated themselves like, I want that life. And he was just himself. And they pulled an emotion out of it. Right. And he wasn't trying to sell it. And so it's a
Hmm.
perfect example of what we're like now with AI, slightly going back to AI. We have no more AI generate content than human generate content
Wow.
right now. What this means is chances are on your feed, one out of every swipe is AI generated,
Hmm.
meaning we will gravitate more to humans making content,
Hmm.
being real, being less polished and yapping than ever before.
Hmm.
So if you've ever thought about creating content or you have created content but it's not a priority and you're not consistent, this is the literally the best time because it's the easiest to do because of AI or iPhones. It's never been easier and you don't need all the fancy stuff you needed before when I first started.
Hmm.
You could literally yap on your cell phone and get millions upon millions of people to watch it and thus buy whatever you're selling
Hmm.
because of what you said of understanding this.
Hmm.
And if you're listening to this, I'm pointing to my heart.
Yeah.
It's so
Hard.
underrated.
Yeah, and that's why I loved at the beginning of this video you shared your story about Costco because I was like, I've never heard that story before. And then to take my own advice, how many stories have I told my wife where I'm like, oh, that'd be a really good YouTube video? And actually, I literally am editing a YouTube video right now. I'm going to release it as soon as we're done. I went off script for the first time in a while. I've been scripting my YouTube videos very heavily, which isn't a bad thing, I don't think. I want to make sure that I get all the points that I want to talk about. But I kind of went off script and used bullet points, and it felt so much more alive. Like I felt so much more aligned and embodied when I was speaking because it was about something I went through that meant a lot to me. And I had built the reps too. So why I always recommend people script things at first is because it teaches you how to do the thing. And then when you go off script, it feels so much more natural. But I agree with you completely. The video came across so much more aligned with how I want to present myself online. And I don't care about views at all. Like I really don't. Sometimes I get insecure. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not above that. But with this video, just putting it out there is such a win to me
Hmm.
because that nobody can prompt AI to find out about why I missed open layups at my ID camp when I got a scholarship to go play college basketball in 2017. AI doesn't know that unless I put it on the internet. Then it'll know that, but it can't be one step ahead of me. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. Stories are so underrated, man.
Hmm.
And a goal of mine this year is to be a better storyteller, is
Hmm.
because in my 7 years creating content, I've given a lot of info, I've given a lot of insight, but I haven't told a lot of stories. To your point, I haven't
Hmm.
shared the Costco story because I thought it was
Yeah,
irrelevant. I was like, who cares? Apparently, people do because
I
guess
cared.
what?
It was a
You
great
can
story. Yeah.
relate. Well, I think because you can find something you can relate to in the story,
Hmm.
right? It's like if I said a story about me picking up a girl, right? It's like, okay, cool. But like if I say a story that relates to a pain, relates to a maybe a happy thought, whatever, it evokes a different emotion. And no matter who says this, it's 100% true. We buy from emotion and justify with logic. It
Of
is
course.
like facts,
Yeah, of
right?
course.
And to your point, like I get low views too, but I'm okay because I'm getting DMs, I'm getting book calls,
Hmm.
and I'm getting clients. And so like I literally like I was getting no views, but then also getting no clients. And
Hmm.
now I'm getting some views, but getting some clients. And so I know like I know it's working,
Just have to stay
right?
the
And
course.
I'm learning what's working better and what's working less. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
I
And I posted
Sorry,
a
go ahead.
video. Oh, sorry. I just
No,
say
go
this
ahead.
quick.
Go
I
ahead.
posted a video of me being sick, and so many people reached out to me. And I don't know if it directed into business, but it definitely built connection.
Of course.
So many people who I've never met wishing me well, telling me about my family, like things they know about me that and we've never met before. So you have to understand that like they literally learned all this about me and took time out of their day to message me
Hmm.
like to wish me well,
Hmm.
right? And there's something there about that connection,
Yeah.
and who knows what that will lead to.
Yeah. And that's crazy. Like, if you really sit and think about how insane that is, that people don't know you, they've learned about you, they've remembered. Like, I know you've been married or with your wife for 8 years. I didn't look that up before this call. I was like, yeah, I'm going to bring this up on this fucking call right now. No, I had it in my head because it stuck out to me. Right. So I think a lot of people look over that. They take it for granted because it's common, but it's not really. Having this happen in like 1974 is not a thing. Nobody's sending you letters in the mail being like, yo, dude, I heard you talking at the water cooler at work and I just wanted to do XYZ and send you this message. That didn't happen. It's funny though, you mentioned the story thing about the picking up a girl specifically, because I remember I so I'll start with this. I think part of the reason why storytelling is so powerful is because it also makes you relatable. Like when you're telling me about working at Costco at 16, I was like, yeah, I never worked at Costco, but I worked shitty jobs when I was young, trying to figure things out. And like you said, people can, they relate to it. But I also think that it kind of makes you more human. And if they see you as somebody successful, if they see you as somebody who's doing well or doing better than them in some aspect, it allows them to
Mhm.
go, oh no, this is a guy who's figuring it out, or like this is a guy who just put in the work and he had to navigate his life the same way I'm doing right now. So you are right, it's relatable, but I also think there's that human aspect. And it's also important to understand the context in which you're telling the story and who you're telling the story for. There was a podcast a buddy of mine did, and he released it with this guy who's very successful. And the guy was talking about how the night he met his wife, and I don't know why this guy said this, and I don't know this person, so no disrespect to him. But for sake of telling the story, he was talking about how before he met his wife, he was just really active in the dating scene, to put it super liberally. He was really out there. And when he met his wife, he had a bunch of women on his arm going into the club he was going to. And I remember watching that and being like, dude, why would you say that? Like, what's going on in your head to share this information? Like,
Mhm.
that's not a good, but in his mind, he might have been like, oh, guys might relate with this who are in my position because they might see themselves in this thing, or like this is a story that I think is relevant to share these details. I personally didn't, but that goes into polarization, right? Because people like me probably don't want to consume his content. And since then, it's like I haven't, if that guy's stuff ever comes up on my recommended, I don't want to watch it. It's
Mhm.
not for me. So again, not to talk bad about this person, if anybody can even recognize who I'm talking about. But it's important to understand, because if he didn't want that kind of reaction, or if he knew that people would react a certain way and he didn't want that, it might be relevant for him to not tell stories in that way going forward.
Yeah. It's now with social media, people are watching what they want to watch. They get the feed know us better
Hmm.
than anyone else. So
Hmm.
like like when I'm posting a video, so it gets 300 views, but those are 300 people who are interested in what I have
Hmm.
to say. Like like before, it was just by the number of people who just follow me. So
Hmm.
if I had 2,000 family members, then and 300 of them watch, and it's 300 family members watching
Hmm.
who are not my ideal clients. But now I have 300
It's a
people
that's a huge
who are
family.
yeah, yeah.
There's 2,000 people in my family. Are the women okay from delivering that many children?
But you know what I'm saying, right? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah, totally.
it's the quote that I have said before. Now it's not about social media, and specifically YouTube isn't about being famous. It's about being found.
Hmm.
And to your point, you found this video and you didn't resonate with it, and that's you're not watching it anymore, and that's a good thing. That means you're off his feed, you're off his radar, and
Hmm.
that's like time that he doesn't have to spend to convert you because you probably wouldn't, right?
Hmm.
There's just certain people who I just will not buy. And there's lots like I follow someone for years and I just recently unfollowed them because of something they've said online and I disagree with.
Hmm.
It sucks
Hmm.
because I really like his content, but I really disagree with what he says. And so I stopped following him and I'm not getting his content anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Might come up once or twice, but again, I just swipe and it's come up way less. So the algorithm's
Hmm.
learning, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like people obsess with the algorithm, and we're talking about this, but it's just you don't want to obsess over it. You just have to understand it. That it
Yeah.
you just have to understand it's giving you what you want. Like
Yeah.
that's it in a
Hmm.
nutshell. Like they people who have a master's degree have built this huge thing, spent
Hmm.
millions upon millions of dollars to develop a tool to give you what you want. And that's what marketing is. I said marketing about standing out and selling out, but it's also giving people what they want.
Hmm.
Like part of standing out is giving people what they want.
Hmm.
Like people don't want fitness is always a good example.
Hmm.
People want six packs. So when
Hmm.
you talk about six packs, they do well. But when you talk about hard work and discipline, it doesn't always do well because people
Hmm.
don't want that. That's what's
Yeah.
needed, not what's wanted. And people mix those things up. It's like, well, you need this. They need this. I'm like, yes, I know, but it's your job to articulate it in a way that makes them like that they want, right?
Yeah.
And so you like that's the job of a marketer,
Yeah.
right? That's why we get paid tons of money is because it's a huge skill. It's not just posting. Anyone can do that,
Hmm.
right? It's literally psychology and in understanding your client like it's your best friend.
Yeah. There's a story I tell about when I was young. My cousin was a really picky eater, and my grandma was making us lunch, and she was just like boiling hot dogs. And when you boil a hot dog, sometimes it splits open. And my cousin didn't want to eat it because he thought that it was spoiled for whatever reason. So she like took the hot dog, like literally just turned around so he couldn't see it, flipped it so that it was on the bottom now, turned back and gave it to him, and he ate it. I'm like, that's your job as a marketer.
That's amazing.
Flip the hot dog. That's all you have to do.
Next YouTube video.
Yeah, yeah,
The
exactly.
hot dog strategy.
Yeah, the hot dog positioning module. Because and then it's true, right? Give people what they want so you can give them what they need. I
Yes.
always tell this story of when I was 17, I had such a difficult time talking to girls and like was so nervous and insecure. I bought this dating course and the copy was all like super typical fear-based insecurity preying upon copy of like you don't want to be alone and like you don't want the girl you like to go date some guy who's better than you. And I was like, oh fuck. But the program was about how do you create a life that's so attractive that a woman wants to be participating in it all the time. Like, how do you
Mm,
become comfortable not needing women and
mhm.
being okay with just
So true.
being who you are? Because women are
Mm,
actually going to want to be around you more if you do that. How do you understand what you like about yourself? And I was like, if they said that in the email, I went to bot. You know what I mean? Like, I was 17, I had no idea. So I had no awareness or like depth of understanding about these concepts. But when I was actually going through it, I was like, fuck, this is really good. And I'm really grateful that I bought that one instead of some stupid, greasy pickup bullshit. But you know what I mean, right? So it's like, how do you give people what they want? How do you speak their language so you can give them what they
yeah.
need because you know they need it?
Just to touch on that, to give a practical example, and something I don't share, content creation actually found me love.
Oh, nice.
Literally, the reason why I'm together with my wife is because of the content I created. And it's on the principle you just talked about was that we met through work, but we have to understand we lived in opposite sides of the country. She lived in Quebec,
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Vancouver, and we were at a retreat. And so we met and we had attraction, but like nothing happened,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like we met and she went back to Quebec and I stayed in Vancouver. The only reason a year later she was still thinking about me and came back and she admitted to this, so I can say this. She flew to Vancouver to see her friends. She flew to Vancouver to see her
That's
friends
amazing.
is because I created number one was I documented my life. I was getting in better shape. I was playing lots of sports. I was enjoying my job. I was just focusing on myself, and I showed it online. and she
Mhm.
was able to fall in love with someone literally across the country
Mhm.
and go to Vancouver. And that's when we actually started dating. When she came over, she came back to Vancouver, and we both were at different jobs at this point. But I say this because, to your point, is like, if you want to attract clients, you want to attract opportunities in business. Yes, content is key, but you're not creating the content;
Mhm.
you are being the content,
Mhm.
right? Just like your dating course is like, how do you become so energetically attractive that you
Mhm.
opportunities come?
Yeah.
Like, me posting things with my daughter, like, has nothing tied to business, and
Mhm.
yet I get more fathers reaching out to me, not because like, "Oh, you're a dad, I'm a dad, let's work together." It's just like they're just like they see something that's relatable. They're more,
Mhm.
it's just more attracted to me, and mothers too. I'm working with all, like, I've never had more parents
Yeah.
working with me than now.
Yeah.
Before, I was working with like single dudes, bro scalers,
Yeah.
and now I'm working with parents who want freedom, want impact, want income and influence. And it's a totally different, because I changed, right? The biggest change was I got married and had a kid,
The
right?
greatest qualifier out there. Completely changed it. It really does change people's perspective of you, though. I had a friend, the one who actually introduced me to that dating course. We're not friends anymore, but he told me for a while when him and his longtime girlfriend broke up, he didn't tell anybody at work for a year because he's like, people literally look at me differently when they found out I was engaged. So I never told them that we broke up, and I was like, it is very real. So I totally believe that. I totally believe that.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, yeah, it's wild. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good place to wrap up. Honestly, I don't want to keep you too long, and I know it's getting late over there for you, and I have other things I gotta get going through today. But I really appreciate your time, and I was wondering if there's anything you wanted to leave people with before we go.
I mean, we said so much. I think like the biggest thing I think that we just touched on is like, I've been doing this for so long. I've worked with a lot of successful people, and there's no silver bullet. That, guys, I've looked for it. It's not there.
Hmm.
Like, there's no magic recipe for creating content. Like, yes, there are lots of strategies out there to get you views, to grow your following, and copying what works. And it does work. I've tried it. It works.
Hmm.
There's nothing that I've seen that helps someone get opportunities, speak on stages, travel. If you're single, get girls, get guys, attract clients, whatever. Then actually, like, learning what makes you stand out, what makes you different. What I do for people is put a mirror in front of them and to show them what makes them unique, because
Hmm.
that is the actual edge that makes them attract the opportunities, the clients, the money that they desperately want. And the more that you fight it and you try to create this thing that you want, the
Hmm.
less likely it will happen. And the more that I've done more inner work with myself. And this is not like woo woo. I'm not saying go take ayahuasca somewhere. Like, although I hear it's
Unless
great.
you really want to, yeah. That's not how it
Yeah,
goes.
yeah. If you want to,
I'm
go ahead.
interested. Yeah, I'd love to know how people's experiences are.
But like, just understanding that, like, I'm a dancer, I'm a father, I worked at Costco. Like, these things on surface level don't mean much, but when you put them
Hmm.
together, they shape a person. That's me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there's other people that, oh, I remember wanting to be a dancer, or I love Costco. Like, I've had people, because I started sharing that story, just like, oh my god, I go to Costco. They just love Costco. It's funny when I tell people I used to work at Costco, they get like fangirl, and boy, it's the weirdest thing. I'm like, it's just a place, but people love it.
Yeah,
Whatever. I digress.
you're like I didn't start it. I just worked there. Like anybody can work there.
Um, the point I'm trying to make is that, like, everything you want in life is behind the content you create. And the thing that's stopping you from creating the content is understanding what makes you
Hmm.
unique. The
Yeah.
minute you understand what makes you unique, and you let go of this pressure of like, needs to get views and needs to generate results right away. The minute you let that go is when everything starts to fall in place. The puzzle literally builds itself. And I'm in the process of, I've never had more clarity in my 7 years creating content than right now. It is such a cool feeling, and it took me a long time to figure it out. It took like a lot of time, and if I could save you that time, like, do that. Figure out what makes you stand out. Figure out your
Hmm.
unique edge and create content around that.
Hmm.
Like, and all the gurus say this. Go look at Gary Vee. Go look at Alex Hormozy. Go look at Dan Martell. Go look at any person that you like and figure out, why do I like this person? And they have a unique edge, and we all
Hmm.
have it.
Hmm.
So that is the last thing I want to leave people with, is knowing that you have what it takes to build $1 million business based on your unique edge.
Love it. Said perfectly. Kyler, I really appreciate your time, man. We'll chat later, and if you're watching this, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.